I think it's always useful to go into these names. It's a good exercise to talk about who are legitimate, real names to drop because it is so easy to just talk about who to add. And that's the flashy thing. But the hard thing to do is to drop a player with the risk of them bouncing back or someone else in your league picking them up and they, have a huge second half.
What was our take? We talked about Alek Manoah last week, and
Yeah.
that's one reason why I didn't list him here. What was our takeaway on that? Was he? I don't know. Fortunately, I don't have Manoah, so he's not my problem. And like, I don't mean to
Yeah.
sound cavalier about it, but if somebody came to you and said Manoah's killing me, I got guys I want to pick up. I mean, would you drop him to pick up, Jared Lorenzen or somebody? Does that make sense to
Uh,
you?
I would not drop him for Lorenzen. I would just bench him for the foreseeable future. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I feel like with a player like Manoah, that's one where you're going to have the constant paranoia that you drop him and he starts to pitch like he should. Last year, the numbers were better than maybe he deserved, but he was still, you regarded him coming into the season as the top 30, top 40 starting pitcher. At the very least, he's still capable of being that pitcher. So I would be very worried about dropping him under those circumstances.
I'm trying to think how we explain this. I know the home run fly ball rate is high. The
Walks are high.
strikeouts have come way down. The walks are
Yep.
out of whack.
Yep.
Velocity down almost a full tick. And he was never a guy who threw gas anyway. I mean,
No.
his highest fastball readout for his career is 93.6. So it's not like
Yep.
he's somebody who says, "Oh, here it is, come and hit it." I don't know,
Yep.
man. Here's my thing with Manoah. I'm not telling you to drop him. And this is gonna sound like a cop out, but whatever. I'm just gonna offer it up. If you told me you were leaning towards dropping him, I would not talk you out of it.
I mean, he falls into the headache category too, because spent some draft capital to get Manoah coming off the year he had last year. Big expectations. He's just a dead spot on your bench if you're not starting him. So I get it. I wouldn't do it, but I get it.
You know what? Maybe I know people say, you don't want to sell low and buy high. Although I argue that if you buy high and sell low better than anybody in your league, if you know which hot starters to believe in, if you know which guys are not going to turn it around better than your
Right.
opponents, you'll actually be a great fantasy player.
Yep.
You probably can't trade Manoah on his own and get a lot for him, but maybe it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you put him in a trade to get it finished. Like you have a trade that's close and you want to get the trade done. And like, okay, well, yeah, you throw me this other guy on your team and I'll throw you Alek Manoah. Maybe he'll turn it around for your team. And then the guy thinks, okay, I'm getting Manoah for no risk. He's just a throw in, but it did get a deal done for you. Maybe he can be like a trade sweetener. So that way you have an out and out dropped him. And that also there, you have some agency on what roster he goes to, right? Maybe you can trade him to a team that can't hurt you.
Yeah, I think there's another angle to this. If you play like a dynasty league, you're going to get someone who maybe is not expected to compete this year, saying, "Hey, I'll take a shot on Manoah."
Sure.
Maybe you're selling him, for pennies on the dollar to an extent, but there's still an opportunity to get something back that can help you this season. So there's certainly dynasty leagues where that could make some sense as well.